Honestly, it's like this show is watching my reviews in real time sometimes and saying, Sosh, don't worry, we got you this week. Hey y'all, today we're talking about She-Hulk episode 7 and everything that I really enjoyed about this episode, because while you might look at this episode and be like, it's relatively simple, not a ton goes on, I think it took some experimental, fun, stylistic risks. I think it fixed a lot of the critiques that I had about last week's episode and did it in a much better format this week, and it's giving me a little bit of upward momentum for the end of the season. First and foremost, Tim Roth was amazing in this episode. I mean, Tatiana Maslany is fantastic in this role as Jennifer Walters / She-Hulk. Like, I love her every time she's on screen. I genuinely do. But Tim Roth has been such a surprise for me personally in this series, as I am embarrassed to admit, I still have never seen The Incredible Hulk all the way through, the movie that shall not be named in this series. I never knew what Tim Roth's Abomination was like, or his Emil Blonsky was like in the original film, so I don't know exactly how much has changed, what's been adapted, and what's sort of been like built upon for him to fit within this series and show that he's had like a character arc in the time we haven't seen him on screen. But he just really works for me. I think his whole shtick is funny. Like, I like the whole, he's a different guy now, he wants to be the Zen kind of Buddhist guy, he wants to run a retreat. Like, I think it's hilarious, and I love getting to see him return this week. I think the biggest thing I want to talk about with this week's episode was it's everything I felt that last week's episode should have been, a self-contained episode story. Well, I mean, okay, this one wasn't completely self-contained the way last week's was. You know what I'm saying? The whole, like, going to one place, sticking to one location, dealing with a smaller list of characters, cutting back on the AB storyline, although I did kind of miss the fact that we didn't have this alternative lawyer storyline. Like, this was the first episode that felt kind of different in the sense that it didn't have any sort of lawyer, court case, anything going on. But it was simple, it was contained, it was creative, it worked around what needed to happen. Like, you can obviously tell that she can't be in She-Hulk form all the time, or that She-Hulk is animated best when she is like sitting down. She's rendered the best when she's not fighting, when she's not in motion. There was, again, this episode still delivers on a little bit of action, like a quick She-Hulk anger moment, swing a punch, throw a punch at the guy that attacked her. Totally valid too, works for the story. It just all really worked for me this episode, and I think this is how you can tell in this episode that, like, sure, this episode didn't cost them a lot to make in terms of the fact that they found a filming location, they had their cast there, like, there's still like makeup and, some special effects here in this episode, but I think a lot of it is just thematically important and character work that's being done here that I think it really benefited from. And I think had last week's episode maybe cut down on a few of the elements that they tried to have, or focused in on making it like truly a big wedding episode and even cutting certain things from this episode, I think that might have been better. But I was just really pleased after last week's episode how this episode proved that the show can do a simple episode well. And I almost just now feel like, other than introducing us to Josh in last week's episode and this website, this Reddit thread basically, I'm kind of feeling like last week's episode was not really that essential at all. I don't know. I don't think it was a wasted episode. I just think it probably could have been 12 minutes and I would have felt like it was the exact same amount of content. I also am really, really enjoying the slow build of this villain or bad guy, the Hulk King / Josh, who he's revealed to be in this episode, which I think some of us saw coming. I'll be honest, I figured like whoever's gonna approach her at the wedding is gonna want to get to know her for different reasons, and like once he ghosted her, I was like, oh, I'm sure he got whatever he needed or something like that. Sad, because I think the thing that this episode did really well is, even though maybe you would have predicted that, you still feel for Jen when she's being ghosted. At least I did, because she's just trying to find a nice man, Matt Murdock. She's just trying to find someone that appreciates her for being both a superhero and a lawyer, Matt Murdock. Anyways, like she's just looking for the right guy. And I think the thing I love about the series, and I really figured it out today after watching this episode, and it's like, this is the MCU's Bridget Jones's Diary. That's what She-Hulk is. It is definitively Bridget Jones's Diary, but for the MCU. You get to see this woman try to have it all, be successful, do the things that women think that they need to do to take care of themselves, yoga and having good skin products and wearing nice clothes and stuff. And some of it you actually feel connected to, and some of it you don't. And I just really love this show for that. And I love this show for Jen, because ultimately what I think this episode succeeded on the most, and that was lacking the most in last week's episode, was that you really feel the empathy for Jen. This week when she gets ghosted, this week when she's trying to check her phone, this week when she's struggling to, feel like she's excited to be She-Hulk and be the same person as She-Hulk because Jen just gets overlooked. girl, I felt that. And when she specifically said, she was talking about having like a friend who is like the cooler, hotter, more popular, more athletic version of you, and like they're the one that gets all the attention. And she says it in relation to She-Hulk being that for her, except she's trapped in the same body with She-Hulk. Oh my gosh, because I think that is such a universally relatable experience for girls at least. And I don't know if boys feel this way too. Y'all can sound off in the comments if you do, but I remember feeling that way so much growing up. When Jen was talking with that, I just was like, girl, I feel you. And that's where I love this show, even if I'm the only one. Like if there is 5 fans of She-Hulk on the earth, I am one of them. If there is 1 fan of She-Hulk on this planet, it is me. If there are 0 fans of She-Hulk, I am dead, because I love this show and I will continue to love it even after an episode that was a little bit of a dip like last week. But I love that with the villain building and not being this world-threatening villain, I feel like we're actually getting somewhere that I might actually like. That the ending episode can be satisfying without feeling like, oh my gosh, the interdimensional time and space vortex reality fabric of time is being destroyed. Help. Like, I love that. The last thing I was gonna say is that I love this series for being an average girl becomes the main character, and like you're just kind of dealing with how that change then affects the rest of her life, because that's Jen Walters and that's fundamentally why we love her. Please let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching this review. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video from me. I mean, and turn that notification bell on too, but real ones already know. Thank you guys again for watching. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day, and I'll see you in my very next video. Peace out, y'all.